Yo,
What up? What up?
Ooh, what's going on, man? Let's go.
What day is it?
I don't fucking know. It's a good day to be on this side of the dirt, man.
I
Let's
know
go.
that I got here yesterday, and now it's today.
That's the way it always works out, man.
That's right. Yo, welcome back, everybody, to the Carpet Footprint Podcast. He is Juan, and I'm Sean, and every week we get together, have a few drinks, talk about things going on in the world, try to focus on things making an impact, whether they be good, bad, or otherwise. Hit him with the drink of the day.
Ooh, threw down a good one this week, man. The Cherry Hayden. This bad boy is good, man. I was expecting, we alternate, and so whenever it's your turn, I go, I'm about to get all the juice and the thing. So I prepare my body the day of, like drink lots of water, make sure I'm hydrated, take some electrolytes. But
right.
you threw me off today because you did the
no juice,
which means I'm gonna get fucked up now. No juice. We got this Cherry Hayden smash, or just Cherry Hayden. This thing is amazing. It is in a cocktail shaker, muddle about 5 to 6 bada bing cherries.
Bada bing.
With some lemon juice, about half an ounce of lemon juice. So half an ounce of lemon juice, like what, half a lemon, I guess, squeezed?
It depends on a lemon, but yeah.
So muddle the cherry, the lemon juice, add some ice to that shaker, 2 ounces of Basil Hayden, an ounce of amaretto, shake that real well, pour in a rocks glass filled with ice, and then garnish with the bada bing cherry. And that's it. Simple, straight to the point, and
shit goes
delicious,
down right.
Man. It's amazing. Yeah. I was in trouble because I drank the first one you gave me in like 30 seconds, and I was like, yeah, this is gonna be a long night.
If you're feeling a little frisky, you could throw a couple bar spoons of that bada bing cherry juice in there too.
Absolutely do that, man. Yeah, yep. That's been the secret to the old fashioned the whole time, man. I always do that to the old fashioned. It's so good, so good.
Yeah, and I've never had this Basil Hayden bourbon. I'm loving it.
Yeah, dude, it always delivers. I love this, and old fashions are good with this. Basil Hayden, it works for so many different things. The smashes, the sours, you said the old fashions. Like I love Basil Hayden, man. Even their rye is so good, man. Yeah, it's so good, and it's a Jim Beam distillery, man. It's like a lot of people like to clown like Jim Beam, but it's they make good whiskey. They know what they're doing. It's amazing. This one's so good.
Awesome. All right, man. My Carpet Footprint of the week is going out to the Joint Office of Homeless Services out in Oregon.
I was gonna say, you just making shit up.
She was like a long ass name,
It sounded like a spoof name, like you were
like the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Yeah, I'm like, that's made up. That's not a thing.
This is an organization out of Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
That is they try to relinquish like homelessness. And what they've done over the last year is they've moved 5,500 people out of homeless situations. And I'm like, that's a lot of people.
That's all. I was literally gonna say that's a
lot
of people, man.
of people. And so I don't know. Like I haven't been to Oregon ever.
Okay.
I've been in that region of the world, right? I've been to like Seattle, and Seattle has a big homeless population there as well.
I've never been to the Pacific Northwest.
No,
I'm thinking about it now. I don't think I've been anywhere in the Pacific Northwest before. Yeah.
So like I say, I've been in Seattle. I know they have a sort of a big homeless community there. Apparently, the Portland, Oregon area does as well. They have the 4th largest rate of homelessness. And I wanted to ask you, what do you think is what state do you think is number 1?
Number 1?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with either California or Washington.
Washington State? Washington D.C. Number 1.
Really?
It's now it's the rate. It's not the number of people. It's sort of like
the ratio per 1,000
per
people,
10,000 people, whatever it is. Yep.
Bro,
So get this.
And DC's a shithole in general, like in terms of like violence and what you see. And it's weird because you bring like diplomats there. Not to get too far off topic, but it's a place that you bring in foreign dignitaries and diplomats. I think, and the first thing they see is crackheads. Like miles of crackheads and violence and graffiti, and like DC isn't necessarily the nicest. You would think that of all the places you clean, like I always wonder, like it's hard. How the fuck do these people run for office when like you can't even keep the town you guys all live in?
You all hang out.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. This is where y'all hang.
Yeah.
This is your hood.
It's weird. Anyways, yeah. Sorry, not to hijack your comic foot.
No, I think it's a great point, man. And so Washington, and I was actually surprised by this, bro. Washington D.C. is number 1. New York is number 2. Vermont is number 3.
Vermont.
There's
just no houses in Vermont. Right?
I guess maybe there's just no one
there's
there.
No one's working construction or working. Aren't they all authors and live in like log cabins up there?
What do you think our home state of Florida? What do you think we were ranked?
Oh, we got. I think I would say top 10. So I'll go with like 7.
20.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Shout out Florida. Let's go, man. You hardworking ass motherfuckers.
Shout out
Let's
DeSantis.
go. Yo, who has the least homelessness?
I don't know.
I'm trying to think. It's fucking Alaska because it's too damn cold, so they don't last, so they're dead.
Dude, they have when I was in Anchorage.
Yeah,
there's homeless
people in Anchorage. I would assume there's 0 because they die within a few days of being outside.
Nope, they was hanging out. I gave them food and shit.
Yeah,
yeah. I left this place and I was going back to my hotel room. It was really late, but it was still kind of light outside. It was during that time of the year.
Yeah.
And
it never got dark the whole time you were there, right?
It got dark, but it just like never gets like pitch black, I guess.
Yeah,
but it was dark.
Okay.
But I'm walking down, man, and I had like I think like leftover like pizza or something, man. And there was a couple of dudes on the street. I was like, "Yo, here."
They were super
Eskimos,
grateful. They
they're like, "We're not homeless."
They're like, "We're not homeless, but
the igloos over there, bro."
Yeah. We just live in weather. We just live amongst ice cubes.
I want to look this up, man. So the state with the least
amount of the smallest homeless population. I'm curious because if you have,
what does it say? As of March 2024, Wyoming, North Dakota, and Mississippi had the smallest homeless population in the U.S.
Mississippi is interesting because it's also at the bottom of like education, right? It has like one of the worst, if not the worst, education system in the country.
Well, apparently, those fuckers still work.
Yeah. Or they just giving away houses there. They're like, yeah, we didn't do you guys any favors, so we'll give you.
We didn't give you any education.
We'll give you a house.
Here you go. Get a house instead.
Oh, yeah, I mean, fucking shout out to Mississippi though. Or they just have all this room there. They're just like, fuck it, we'll just build free houses for, I don't know. Yeah.
But this organization is Joint Office of Homeless Services. It is a real organization.
It sounds so fake.
Set up in 2016, and just doing the damn thing over in Oregon, trying to get people in homes. And I know that's, like I said, we in a place that has a big population of homelessness. Shout out to those guys for trying to do something about it.
Yeah. Listen, it's a problem everywhere. Even close to where I live now, it used to be a really, really bad problem. It's definitely gotten cleaned up, and the sad thing is it gets cleaned up when there's events coming to town.
Yeah,
specifically in this area. Somehow they figure out a way to get rid of them.
Dude, didn't San Fran do that shit when didn't they have like a Chinese diplomat come over there and they got rid of everybody?
Yeah,
they put them somewhere.
Yeah, they put them somewhere they put them in storage for the fucking time being. And I live in an area where it depending again on time of the year. When I first moved here, it was horrible. Now it's gotten a lot better, but I've seen sort of the ebbs and flows of it. And I haven't been able to sort of pinpoint like what's been affecting it.
Yeah.
The only sort of thing that I was able to sort of, I guess, do a correlation to was when we had events that came into town that were like sort of events that were going to attract out of towners. They were just gone.
They just disappear.
Yeah, and there's parts of here where it was like entire sidewalks, almost tent city type things. Maybe not to the magnitude of like a Seattle, but for sure, like uncomfortably bad, like high, where you're like you avoided those streets because you're like, yo,
Is that right?
It's weird. Yeah,
And it will be tense.
Yeah,
Yeah. Is that right?
there's place I can walk you to now, a quarter mile from here, where under a bridge, where it's like a mini tent city.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's it's an issue everywhere. I don't know, right? I don't. Obviously, like the government could step in to help. But there's a housing crisis in terms of like the cost of owning a home and all that. But then I think the other thing with homelessness is a lot of it is mental illness, and so like how do you combat that? Like you have to be able to combat that part of it, and then decipher how much of it is like literally people can't afford it,
Right.
and then tackle that as a separate issue.
You figure like homelessness is something that will never go away.
Yeah.
But if you're able to combat like the rising cost of homes, or you develop neighborhoods where the cost of homes is just not that much, right? Like, I mean, nowadays we can 3D print homes. Hell, you see people get like you can order a little home on Amazon.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so the stuff is not that expensive. But obviously it's like it's that coupled with the land to put it on, and then. Dude, and I will tell you this.
Yeah, the responsibility is not for everybody.
No, and also if you are not exposed, right? If you're not exposed to ownership in general, whether it's land ownership, home ownership, a lot of people think that shit is out of reach, and it's really not. But if you don't know anybody who owns, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
it's hard. It
sounds crazy.
It just sounds right. But I mean, the information is out there. If you ever been interested in home ownership and you haven't looked into it, like I would suggest that you do that. I've seen people that were happy to get like an apartment or a Section 8 apartment or anything like that, and it's like, man, home ownership, land ownership in general is not out of reach. You just got to educate yourself.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's like everything else.
And have a job.
And then, you have to have a job, but you got to be willing to put in the work and do the research and all that stuff. It all sort of falls into that, for sure. Definitely, man. So shout out to those guys, man.
Yeah, man.
The fucking name sounds fake, but it's dude, I'm always for trying something is better than nothing. Like, I don't know what the answer is to a lot of shit. I'm not smart enough to figure that out. But like, I do know that like sort of the idle thing isn't the answer. It's like just try stuff. Like I'll never even like you talk about politicians or like even at corporations, whatever. Like just try stuff. Yeah. Like I will always sort of applaud the effort over just sort of sitting by with idle hands.
Yeah.
So hopefully this works. And there's been different pilots everywhere. So like I don't know that we know what the true answer is, and it is probably a little more nuanced where it's a case by case thing. But at least they care.
And you don't know if this stuff will last.
Yeah.
Right. Like how long that will last. Will the folks that are living in these places will they take care of them enough? Will they last and then maybe move on from there, and then somebody else fills in those spots again? All that stuff time will shake it out.
Yeah, it'll work itself out.
Yep.
Time will tell.
All right, bro, what you got?
For sure. I struggled this week, but the one I kept coming back to was the RFK thing. Was the one that I felt like was worth mentioning.
He dropped out.
I fucking the politics thing. I don't want to do it, man, but RFK dropping out and then endorsing Trump. I think not just that it's RFK, it's just that it's a Kennedy, not necessarily just endorsing Trump. It's kind of crazy, bro. But yeah, it's just like just a Republican in general. The Kennedys have been such a staple and a dynasty and sort of the Democratic Party, and so I think I look at this and I go, does this change the landscape of the Kennedys? Does this change the landscape of politics? Does it change the landscape of what we think about like that sort of the pedigree and the legacy of that family? Like, I don't know, but it's fascinating, right? Because for as long as we associate Kennedys with the Democratic Party, the same way that Ronald Reagan started as a Democrat, but obviously we know him as sort of like the GOAT Republican is what people would know him as, and would be like one of his descendants sort of like switching up teams, especially because he's someone that's idolized so heavily. by the right. So it would, I think that's what sort of the Kennedy thing does. It's like, yeah, RFK may not have gotten he's probably made more noise than most independents have caused in a long time. Certainly since like the Ross Perot, I guess, era. But I think just having a Kennedy, man.
What year was that?
Man, that 90s? That must have been, when did Bill win?
I think it was 92. Yeah.
Or was it the second time, 96?
No. I'm pretty sure it was 92.
Yeah, so like, I don't know. RFK didn't have a chance to win as a Democrat, obviously, and there's a lot of reasons for that, man. Like not to get too conspiratorial, but you could argue that the DNC sort of kept him out and pushed him down, and certainly there's been a lot of evidence to show that maybe that was the case, or just.
Well, yeah, man. I'll give you one example, actually, man. So he was prior to him dropping out, he was removed from the New York ballot. And it was a Democratic-backed lawsuit that basically argued, and I didn't know this. They argued that he was not a resident of New York, and instead was a resident of California. Why that's interesting is because, or why that matters, I should say, is because his running mate was also from California, and you can't have your running mate be from the same state.
Yeah, it's the same reason Kamala didn't pick Gavin Newsom, who was expected to be sort of.
Yeah, dude, and it's like a quirk in the in the 12th Amendment.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's weird, man, and he yeah, man, he made a lot of noise, and then it seems like whatever, the establishment hated him, and then. I think the other part I think about is, and we might have already talked about this on here, but the Republican Party knock on the Trump thing has been, the Democratic Party's knock on the Trump thing has been like, oh, vote for us. There's a threat to democracy. Yet, in arguably the most important part of the democracy, which is like being able to pick who you can vote for president, they skip that, right? Like it almost makes you wonder. Again, I never like to give them credit for strategy, but the fact that they removed Joe Biden when they did made sure that they were past the primaries and past close to the DNC, and so they were able to sort of handpick who they wanted to run.
Right.
And I'm not saying that was the wrong or the right candidate and that they wouldn't have won anyway. It's just that the hypocrisy behind this guy's a threat to democracy, and then literally sort of spitting in the face of democracy when it came to picking your nominee. It's like, can you really make this argument now?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like own your shit. Like if you're gonna stand on that.
Yeah, just own your. Yeah, that's me. Like keep the same energy. Like, we were talking joke about that shit. Like keep the same energy you had, before. And so the RFK thing, it looks like they purposely tried to keep him out. And listen, he may have never had a shot anyway. Who knows? But we'll never find out, and because people will never get a fair shot. But now you have one of sort of America's dynasties. And his family even came out and basically sort of try to distance themselves from him and
Is that
say
right?
that they didn't support him and all this and that. The whole thing was super fascinating to me, and not unexpected, but fascinating in the sense of like, he's a Kennedy. What does this do? But I think I expected him and Tulsi Gabbard, and then I saw that this week that they were sort of named to the whole transition cabinet thing, and I think they'll get actual seats on Trump's, if Trump wins, I think they'll actually get some seats.
On one of his team of people.
Yeah,
right?
For sure. I think if you're Trump, you're almost trying to pick. Say what you will about him, but I think he has been known to he wants to be liked so bad that he'll pick. I think people that will make him more likable, and certainly picking, I think, somebody like a Tulsi Gabbard and RFK gives you more likes, quote unquote, than the ones that already like you. Like it expands sort of your reach within, the likes or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
But no, but I need to go back to the whole democratic process, man. Listen, both sides, in my opinion, do dirt to win, right?
For sure.
It's almost it's like it's not even really for the candidates themselves. It's like the parties want control.
Yes.
But I did find it interesting that all of these charges against Trump, and then there's new ones recently where it's like, what, why now? It really just appears to be something to prevent him from running.
Yeah, and it's weird because you have to know, because if I know this, and again, it's like I'm not that smart, but common sense tells me if I know that this sort of makes him stronger or turns him into a martyr or whatever, you have to know that too, right? And you meaning like whoever's making these decisions to like pursue prosecution and that sort of thing. It's like, well, why do you keep doing it? Like, you have to know that you're making this stronger, and if you're, and then which then takes me to, do you want it to? And if you don't, why is it that you're holding back? Like, what is the piece of the puzzle that I'm missing that I don't get? Because maybe it is that, right? Like, I don't have an intimate understanding of politics in terms of, like, their day-to-day ops and what they think about. But from the outside looking in, using the information that I do have, it doesn't seem like it makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's kind of crazy, man.
Yeah, for sure.
So, like I said, we'll see, man. I mean, I think it is impactful. I say for somebody to, and I don't see it the other way around where, and I could be wrong. Maybe there are Republicans that are coming out on the Democratic side for Kamala. I don't know for a fact, but we definitely got two sort of prominent former Democrats, and really three, right? Because Trump was former Democrat as well.
Yes, he was.
So you have essentially like three former Democrats that are going like, nah, the party's corrupt, and not saying the other side's not corrupt either, but three people going, the party's corrupt, and here's how. And with the Robert Kennedy thing, it wasn't just the New York ballot. They brought out, they being Democratic, like backed like lawsuits, they brought out things with them on multiple states.
Yes.
They basically forced him into dropping. So all I could think of is, okay, he's a Kennedy, so then people that would normally vote Democrat may side with him.
Yep. And
then and we don't want that. So we got to get rid of this guy. And this is the best way to do it, right? We're gonna use these back doors and these sort of legalities to prevent him from running. And it's just sad.
It's weird how the parties have changed places as of late too, right? Like the there was a point in time where the Republicans were looked at as a non-progressive, judgy, thing, and then now Republicans are almost like the left or Democrats or liberal, whatever the fuck you want to call them, whatever label people feel like giving them these days, are like sort of the judgy ones. It's like, oh, you don't like, like. And it's weird because it's the same party, but it's whatever. How they sort of like change places, and yet the people still follow them the same way, and they still treat them. It's a very bizarre concept, man. I think was it you I was telling the other day was like idolizing politicians is like believing the stripper actually likes you. You know what I mean? Like it's like. It's so bizarre to me.
I think you call it a mental illness.
It is. It's kind of fucking me, man. And it's like, we all know that guy who goes to the strip club. He's like, no. She really liked me. It's like, no, man. She liked the 20s you were putting in her fucking G-string. She doesn't give a fuck about you. Like, she's got a kid to feed. It's like, she doesn't care. It's like, that's what idolizing a politician or a political party is like. It's like thinking that. And yeah, I don't know, man. The whole shit is always confusing to me, but I do think there are moments and there are people and there are families and there are things that you go change sort of the landscape of it. And I don't know. I think this is one. Like, I think if RFK stays in this, like, what is this? Does it fracture the Kennedy family? Do they all fall in line? Is this just a one-off? Like, I don't know. I'm fascinated by this whole shit. And I was so out on politics in general.
It's gonna be fun,
and it's gotten interesting lately. It's like I don't give a fuck what happens, but I'm just like I'm in for the show, right? Like I'm in for the train wreck. So,
dude, so I did watch Kamala speak. Mm-hmm. I thought she had a really good speech. I thought she was sort of captivating. The one thing that I find with the RNC versus the DNC, is that to me, the DNC looks more like America to me.
In terms of like what the diversity
of the people that are there.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that.
So, but that's to me, right?
No, I could definitely see that.
Somebody who lives in Middle America might go like, no, like the RNC looks like my neighborhood.
For sure.
Right? And so
my argument there would be though is that your first inclination is the DNC would look like what the experiment of America is supposed to be, which is that type of diversity, right? Like we're arguably the greatest experiment of all time in terms of like, or the most complicated experiment of all time, biggest experiment of all time, right?
Right.
Like, yeah. So what my argument would be is that you're right in your first sentiment, which is like that looks more like me, not just like you, the mixed guy or whatever, but it's just like, yeah, that looks like me. That looks like that room looks like a room full of people that I would hang out with and talk to, right? Because like it's like you get the white and you get all the way to the like, and so like I can understand what you're saying and the sentiment.
But the thing is, but like in the DNC, like there's plenty of white people.
Sure, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just like this.
But I think that's what it is. It's like it's not a lack of white people. It's an inclusion of everybody else.
Right.
Yeah. Whatever that everybody else is.
Whereas the RNC doesn't appear to be not near as much.
You don't count Hulk Hogan?
What
is that just a tan?
What is he?
Yo, you remember? Fuck, I can't think of the name off the top of my. But it actually doesn't even matter. But if you came here, bro, from another country and you fucking turned on the RNC or just news that day and you saw Hulk Hogan fucking ripping off his shirt on a podium and yelling, whatever, some shit like, pro-Republican or whatever it was.
Right.
Like, you would be like, you would think it was a spoof. You would think it was like, oh, this must be a TV show you guys watch that does this because it's funny. And we'd be like, nah, we're dead ass, bro. Hulk Hogan said vote for, what I mean? It's like, Hulk Hogan, who, by the way, is a fictional character. It's not even a real human being.
He was in full, and he was in full character.
Yeah, they'd be like, the guy from Thunder in Paradise? And you'd be like, yeah, awesome. That show slapped, so I got to give him credit. But no, going back to your point, is that I don't necessarily disagree that it's sort of more representative of you, and I think that's always been I don't want to call it the issue, but I think it's been the thing that's hard to get over and why there's such a divide even amongst minorities, right? I have a family that's a big chunk of them are very right leaning, I guess, if you call it, and the rest of them are very left leaning, right? Like, and it's hilarious because I always laugh because the poorer ones lean right, and you would think that based on sort of the help you need and your demographic and where you fall and all that it would be flipped, right? The ones that are doing sort of well. And it's funny because there is a level of rich that you get to where everybody turns Democrat because you can sort of afford to care about like social issues because you're that rich. So like it's weird. Like when you're young and you're sort of like you care about the world and you want your friends to be nice and you're sort of a little naive. You're a Democrat. When you start making a little bit of more money, you sort of lean right. And then there's an amount of money that you make that you can sort of afford to care about people's feelings, and you're just like, yeah, fuck it, I wish, you switch back. It's really bizarre how that works. But
I have enough money to be nice now.
Yeah. Like I have enough money now to go like, I should be able to get married, and like,
but not you guys.
Yeah. It's just really, really interesting. But yeah, anyway, I said that to say like my family, like there's no rhyme or reason. Like the people that you would think like are one way are voting against their own self-interest all the time. And same thing with the other side. Like they both just vote against their own self-interest all the time. And when I look at the list, I'm like, I can't even pay attention because I'm like, you guys are all voting for. It's not that this side's right or this side's wrong, but it's like I'm going just strictly based on your lifestyle. You're voting against your own self-interest, and then you're voting against self-interest, and they both lean, whatever in the opposite direction. It's so strange, man.
Yeah, man. Like I said, it's going to be interesting how this thing plays out.
I see, man. RFK, man. Fucking go get your vocal cords fixed and see what happens. Let's go.
Dude, did you see the guy, the guy who invented Telegram? Just one of these like apps where you can send messages and shit.
Yeah, walk me through that because I saw the headline, but I don't know anything about the story.
I'm gonna butcher this guy's name, Pavel Durov.
Yeah, close enough.
He's a Russian guy actually, but he was charged Wednesday with being complacent in the spread of crime on the popular messaging app, including child sex abuse, drug trafficking, and fraud.
Okay.
So, among those charges, he refused to help the French authorities wiretap users of the site who were suspect of crimes. And so he got arrested in France.
Okay.
Again, this guy's a co-founder and the CEO of Telegram. Russian guy fled back in 2014 because he wouldn't turn over data to the Russian authorities.
Okay.
Billionaire. He's worth reportedly about $15 billion.
Jeez, good for him.
And they're just basically saying that the criminal activity that takes place on his platform, or criminal activity takes place on his platform, and he does nothing about it to prevent it. And so my question is this, bro: are you responsible for how other people use tools that you build? If I build a shovel,
yeah,
and then somebody buys it and they hit somebody over the head with it, and then they use it to dig up the dirt and bury them, is the shovel, because the shovel was used as a murder weapon and a tool to hide the body, is that my fucking fault?
No, I wouldn't think so, man.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
And so I think in this guy's case,
are we in court? Because then they would say yes.
Right. In this guy's case, they're going, yo, you have this messaging app, and you're not doing anything to prevent criminal activity on there. And I guess you're not really working with authorities when we say, hey, this person's on your app sending messages. We want that data. And he's going, no, fuck you. Like, yeah. It's private.
Right. As you should.
I kind of feel like he's right.
Yeah. Fuck.
Again, I don't think the guy's a fucking criminal, man. Like, you can't call him a criminal if the guy's like he's an avid believer of sort of free speech and just privacy in general.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't know, man. How far does your responsibility carry you?
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know that it's because where do you draw that line? And then now you're making me responsible for other humans that I don't have any influence over.
Right.
It's just, I don't know. It's like blaming the guy who invented the gun for like every murder, or whatever, mass shooting, or the guy who invented the spoon for people getting fat, or it's like.
Now, what about if, and maybe this is it, right? If you're the guy that invented the gun and you have a listing of every person that's ever bought one.
Okay.
And there's been murders, and then the authorities come to you and say, we need those listings, and you go, those listings are private. Are you then obstructing justice?
I mean, I guess from a legal standpoint, you technically are, but yeah, from a moral or an ethical or what, like. Because then you start to lose consumer trust, right? Which is what your existence is relying on in the first place. And so there's a fine line there, because like I don't want to betray sort of the consumers that come, to me for whatever that thing is. Yeah. But then you don't want to be sort of anti-patriot, on the flip side of that, or it's. Isn't
that how WhatsApp started? Like they kind of started with that, right? And then they sold to
Meta, Facebook, whatever. Yeah. It's a struggle, man, because like you could say like the law of unintended consequences, and you could apply that to everything, right? Like on this table right now, like should you blame Basil Hayden for every alcoholic that exists? Should you blame fucking whoever made this glass for everybody who has diabetes because they drink juice and that contains sugar? Like it's like I get what people are saying, but it's like, where do you draw the line?
Right.
In that, I just I don't know. I struggle with
and if you're that guy, you just go, fuck this, man. I'm just gonna sell it.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with this shit.
I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, I'd rather sell it and just get my shit, and then somebody else can deal with that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating. We'll follow that over the next week or two, because I feel like it'll be a conversation.
Yes, I know he had to. It was a few $1 million to bail to get bailed out of it. I feel like that was just because of what he was worth.
It has to be. Yeah. It has to be taken into consideration, because sometimes you'll see those numbers and you're like, "Fuck you, bro." If it was a normal person, you wouldn't have charged that much, but you're doing it because it's whoever. Right. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, what else you got, bro?
Dude, I'm trying to think. This story was relevant just because of where we are. Obviously, we record the show from Orlando, and I saw this story that said 45% of parents will go into debt to take their kids to Disney. And
so hold on. They're willing to go into debt?
No, will go.
Oh, this is will go. Okay.
Will go. And as someone who has worked there, I can confirm that is true. Some people just flat out told you. Some people just told you they were saving up, whatever, their whole life. Some people, it just happened to be the wrong day. And when you did your schedule, it is a thing. 45%, like, go into debt to take their kid. I don't know why that stood out to me, but it was like, I don't know, like, what is your thought on that? Because I'm sure we all go into, I don't want to say into debt, but we all make poor decisions financially or personally or whatever for our children, right? Like, they sort of dictate our lives.
Yeah, and I think that so Disney, I mean, obviously they are expensive, right? Mm-hmm. Anyone who's been here or if you live here, but definitely if you have visited here and if you're staying on property and getting it's insane.
Yeah.
Right? It's one of those things that you should, if you're planning on doing that, you should save up over time and then just pay it.
Dude, when I worked there, people told me I've been saving my whole life. And I'm talking people like in their 60s, 70s.
Really?
They saved their whole life to be there, and whatever that moment was. And they're like, yeah, and we're finally able to do this, and
yeah,
I
it's
remember
insane,
just
man.
going like, fuck that, But I take this for granted because it was so normal to me, right? Like working there was something that I definitely took for granted.
I do remember, I think my wife's parents took them. I remember her telling me this story. Took them when they were super young, and so you're talking about maybe like early '80s, and spending like $5,000 back then. Which that was a shit ton of money in the early 80s. It's a lot, man. And so, yeah, man, like to do that, you probably, if you got a family of 5 and you're gonna stay for a week and stay in the hotels now, man, you're probably like 3x that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Easy. Yeah. Easy. I remember I would get people all the time that would tell me, whatever they whether it was saving or emotionally, what they had sort of gone through to be there, and you're sort of like, wait, I don't even know how to describe it. You're just, I think again, we take it for granted that you're in disbelief of like, why would you do that? But it's easy to lose sight of the fact that we live where other people vacation. Not only that, because there's a lot of cities that offer that, states that offer that, but we're sort of in a lifetime or a lifelong sort of wish dream thing, if you will. It's not just about wanting to come for a vacation here. It's like Disney represents so much to people, like in terms of their lifestyle and their childhood and the way they associate their for some of them, like their personal life. Like it's just like it's a lot.
And it's one of those things that's been around for such a long time.
Yep.
That the parents are just as excited to go as the kids. What's sad, I will tell you this, man. What's sad is that, and I'll tell you this to parents, be mindful of the age of your kids, because you'll go and you'll make this trip and you'll spend all this money, and depending on their age, you may think they're going to remember, and they're not going to remember shit.
It's weird how what the kids doing, and it's weird what they do and don't remember anyway. Like you can't,
or they may just have flashes. I think my mom brought us here when I was like 5.
Okay,
and we went to Disney.
To Florida, you mean? Okay.
To Florida, yeah. So we were living in New York at the time, and we came to Florida. I have like 3 distinct memories from that trip, but most people don't remember shit when they're 5. To make that to go when I was a parent, we took our boys to New York.
Yeah.
When they were what we thought they were like sort of like of age. I want to say, I don't know, they were maybe 12 and 10 or 11 and 9, and but we took them during that time because we go, they're gonna remember this, and they don't. They only remember some bits and pieces, and we did everything. We did, Empire State Building,
you checked
fucking Statue of Liberty. We checked all the boxes,
and
bro.
they just don't remember any of it.
And they don't remember. You know what they remember, bro? The weekend or the week that we were there, the Nintendo store was opening, and they remember that.
I do remember the Nintendo store. The couple times I've been to it over there and taking pictures and sending it to people.
Yeah,
it's pretty dope.
So they remember that. They remember going to see family, but it's just like it's bits and pieces.
Yeah.
So it's not a trip that they go like.
It's weird what they
still
retain and why they didn't retain it. Like obviously for them it wasn't something that memorable, but it's like, why wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's like it's strange, man. And dude, again, as somebody who worked at Disney, people flat out said like, oh, I've been working my whole life to be here, and it was funny, man. I was very young, but there was something about that would put things into perspective where I was just like, man, I'm literally just rolling out of bed to do this, because I get paid to be here. But also if I wasn't, I get, I could come here whenever I wanted to, mostly because I know people or I get passes or I get whatever. It's so easy to take for granted, especially when you live here and you get annual passes and stuff. I think we get so spoiled by it just being in our backyard.
Yeah.
And so when I saw 45%, dude, and also for our children, like, I think the part of that conversation more that I wanted to have was like, not shocking, seems like a reasonable number. And then we are willing to do so much for our kids, like so much. And so taking on some debt to pay for Disney tickets or whatever seems like a very minuscule, like, and obviously the study, the thing didn't say how long it would take you to pay that back or whatever. It's just strictly, you're willing to take on debt to do this. And I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, I would. Seems reasonable to want to do that, but I don't know. Again, like, we would do anything for our children, I think, within reason, and sometimes without, if they fit sort of that mold or whatever.
Yeah, and a vacation is one of those things that people would go into debt for. And if something this special, and not for nothing, man, I'll give Disney a lot of credit. Disney does their shit right. And so when you go to the parks, like, you're gonna be treated well for the most part, right? You're gonna be like the employees are trained really well. And everything looks good. There's nothing that's sort of like, there's nothing that's going to be looking run down. Yeah. Disney does a phenomenal job at I think, of maintaining those parks.
No, it's a first class experience.
It really is. So and you got to pay for that.
Absolutely, right. You pay the money, but you get the experience to go along with it. Yeah, I would agree.
Dude, talk to me about these hobbies for women. Hobbies that women find unattractive. I gotta hear.
Have you seen this study? I only took the top 5, but there was.
How many were there?
It was a long list, man. But there was. I grabbed just the top 5. I can pull it up, but
no. Go with what you got.
It was top hobbies that women would see in men that they would find most unattractive. So number 5 was gambling, which I could see if you thought someone had a gambling problem, or just maybe that's just all they did or whatever. Like, I
would imagine that's it. If you have a gambling problem.
Number 4, online trolling, reasonable. I think if you date someone whose entire existence is behind them making fun of people online or talking shit or whatever, I can see that. That's off-putting.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to be with someone like that either, male or female. I wouldn't even want a friend like that, to be honest with you. Like, who would just troll people.
Don't you troll your family through certain times of the year?
No, surprisingly enough, I don't. So that was the one. So gambling. Number 4 was online trading. Was a undesirable, I guess, hobby.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Shocked. Wouldn't you want them to, I guess, don't be an online trader? That sucks. I could understand if you wanted to add that caveat, but like,
what if you're good at it?
Yeah. I don't know. That one seems strange. The third one is any men who are into magic tricks, which is, I didn't even know we were competing for the same kind of people. Like,
you mean David Blaine?
Yeah. David Blaine and me are evidently competing for the same women. Seems strange. So what have we got? Gambling, online trading, magic tricks, figurines. So I guess if you collect figurines or whatever, then they're out. But I got figurines, so like I'm torn. But is it an obsession or a thing? Like no. But
Yeah, I was
if
gonna
you
say,
started
man,
to
yeah,
grab
I have.
them and toss them or whatever, will I on principle? Then I don't know. Seems strange, but I want to get to the other ones because so it was collecting figurines. What do you think the number one least attractive male hobby is? Number one.
Dude, is it something like fucking watching sports or some shit like that, man? I don't think it would be, but I don't know.
Playing video games.
Oh, yes.
Which you
I get that. I can see.
Yeah, I can see that. I think the caveat that I would add to all of these is it's dependent on how you are everywhere else. Like, they could say that playing video games is the most unattractive trait, whatever they could have in a partner. However, you had to answer that, as a, I don't know, like to me, if you have all your shit together,
Right.
then you're allowed to have hobbies that are a little bit because you have your shit together. Well, now, if you're fucking terrible at every other aspect of your
Right.
life and you have these questionable hobbies, we're going to be like,
Yeah, shouldn't you be focusing your
shouldn't
time
you be
elsewhere?
Exactly, bro. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, when I hear video games as number one, I'm not surprised, but I also
No, me neither.
I also picture the guy who is on there for hours and hours and hours, right?
Like, you're
Because-
allowed to love video games. It just can't be the only thing you fucking love. And if you're a loser in every other aspect of your life, yeah, it's going to be extremely unattractive.
Yeah.
But I think as like women will see it that way, right? Like women will be like, well, you don't have all of this shit going for you, and you play fucking video games. Like get it together, loser. Like I think that would
Right.
be like the mentality. But I think if you're someone who has their shit together, you're sort of like fulfilling whatever parts of the relationship, but just maybe from a professional standpoint, you're doing okay. And then that just happens to be something that you like to do. I think you're fine.
Yeah.
It's just, it can't be the thing, and then you suck at everything else.
Yeah.
I think is yeah. But it's funny, man. Like if we were making a list of women's hobbies, like what would you think we would include on there? That's where I really wanted to go with that. Like I saw that, and I'm like, yeah, we think that. But what are women's hobbies that we would be like, I'm out?
I don't know. Give me some women's hobbies, man.
Fucking astrology would be the one. Like, hey, you ever had a woman just be like, oh, well, I'm a Gemini, and Gemini's, and I'm like, I'm out.
I usually just go, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, me neither. Bro, anytime anyone answers anything with their zoological sign, I wish they would just walk in front of a train. Or I said zoological. That's. I just made it more retarded. Astrological. Anytime I said zoological. I bet you're a Pokemon. Bro, anytime anyone, male or female, fucking makes any comment or answers a question, whatever, anything to have to do with the whatever their sign is, quote unquote, I'm like, I'm out. Like, I immediately lose respect for you as a human being if you go, well, I'm a Gemini, so da-da-da-da. I go, no, you're using that you fucking in the alignment with planets and shit to be an asshole, as an excuse to be an asshole. I'm out. I just can't buy into it. I don't know. So yeah,
I'm actually looking this up, man.
So women who are into astrology, that's an unattractive hobby. Fuck y'all.
What are some common women hobbies?
They don't have any, bro. It's astrology.
It says,
and go ahead.
look, dance, flower arranging, photography.
Even the AI is struggling.
Traveling. Is traveling a hobby?
No, that's what people try to say to sound cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I like to go. I like to travel.
That's a privilege.
It's like,
bitch.
where have you been? Well, I've been to New Jersey. I've been to North Carolina once. I drove through Virginia.
Yeah, like gardening, blogging,
Okay.
horseback riding.
How the fuck is that a hobby when half of y'all don't live somewhere where there's horses? You kind of got to live somewhere where that's
One
a
of them
thing.
says calligraphy.
Bitch, are you making wedding invites? Like, what is happening? How is calligraphy a hobby?
Candle making?
Yeah, and we're the whack ones. I'm gonna tell you right now, if I met you and you said, "Oh, on my spare time, I like to make candles," I'm never calling you again. I'm not talking to you. I'm never showing up to anything. I like to make candles.
Oh, reading? Reading is a hobby.
I mean, does it count as a hobby? Like, cause I like to read. But
No. I think it's a good hobby. That's a good hobby.
Sure,
Unless you're reading like unrealistic shit.
Yeah, also subjective, but fine. We'll go with that.
Writing, volunteering, scrapbooking.
Okay. I think that's also dependent on everything else. But
yeah, but which
maybe I'm
one?
wrong.
Which one of these are like the most annoying or the deal breakers? Right. So let me go down. If you stop me,
Yeah.
dance, baking, gardening, flower arranging, photography, horseback riding, jewelry design, traveling, blogging, calligraphy, candle making, climbing, journaling, learning new languages. I know that was a hobby.
Okay.
Playing an instrument, that's a good hobby. Okay. Reading, that's a good hobby.
Okay.
Scrapbooking, volunteering, drawing, painting, writing, acting, yoga, and interior design. I'm sure there's probably more than that, but that's like the common. I just women
Googled hobbies.
Common women's hobbies.
Yeah, man, y'all's are trash too. Like ours are trash. I think any of them actually are contingent on how good you are. Everything else in life. Like again, as a guy, you're allowed to play video games if you got your shit together. You're allowed to gamble if you got your shit together. Like every hobby in there. It's like if you're gambling away your mortgage or your rent. Yeah. But everything else, like, 'cause you could, I would argue that you could even turn those hobbies into like ways to spend time with your spouse. Like if you did like to gamble, it'd be like, oh, I want to bet on these, and something you could do together, and now you're both vested and interested in it. But I do think there's a lot of these hobbies that are very contingent on what the rest of your lifestyle is like, for sure.
Awesome.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, man. Yo, let's finish this off. Tell me about this guy in New Jersey that ate 10 edibles.
This motherfucker, bro, ate 10 edibles. I gotta find the whole story, but
first of all, it's Jersey. That's your people.
Yes. Oh, I love me some Jersey people, but dude, if we're gonna do something, we're not gonna half-ass it. And this is what I like about my people from Jersey is we do not know how to do anything half-ass or just a little bit. We want to make sure that we're the best to ever do it, the best there ever was, the best there ever will be. And this guy had 10 edibles on an airplane. I think he was trying to open the fucking doors to the airplane.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he was gone, bro. Baked, like super cooked. Just like was so high on an airplane that he was trying to open the doors to jump out so he can cool off, and was just making a ruckus on the airplane. And as someone who has been on an airplane a little high, I gotta say, seems reasonable.
Dude, I've done edibles like a few times.
Yeah.
They do hit different. Like when you ingest it versus like a smoke, it does hit different, man. So I can't imagine anybody taking 2 edibles. But again, maybe I'm lightweight. But 10, dude, you're probably on a whole other planet.
Yeah, dude. And the edibles wait to hear you talking shit to kick in, or hear you sort of take on another. I don't know. They just go like, "Oh, are you not expecting us now?" Peekaboo, and then it just fucking ruins your day. But I was like, shout out to this guy fucking trying to open doors, trying to negotiate with fucking shadows and whatever. Like,
have you ever done an edible that where you go, okay, that was way too much?
Yeah. You may have been there for that. It was a great fucking time, but it was definitely too much. Dude, because I think that that's other shit that we mistake. Like, there has been times where I have had a good time doing something, and I pushed that shit to the limit. Like, that was a horrible idea, but it was a great fucking time. You know, so it was like, yeah. So I've definitely have done that. Definitely have done that. Well, this is a shitty idea.
And I don't really know what would what would get anybody to do 10 edibles? Like what? Like whose idea was that?
They're not kicking in, bro. And
nine wasn't good.
Yeah, at 9, you're like, I feel a little bit, so let me get more. And then next thing you know, you're a fucking plant. You're just sitting there, just staring into space.
And it's different. It takes longer to hit you when you eat it.
It has to be so fucking fun to watch someone around you like that too. They'll just be like, bro, you or not. Because you're like, yo, this person's dead.
Yeah, I'm out.
I gotta be the one to be here with them. Yeah. Yeah, fuck. Damn it. Yeah, I could see that.
Leave them there, man.
Yeah.
Yo, and on that, tell them where they can find us.
At the Carbon Podcast on YouTube, on IG, on Facebook, at Carbon FP Pod on X, at Carbon Football Podcast on TikTok, and then all your favorite audio platforms: Amazon Music, Audible, Apple Podcast. Make sure you guys leave us a review on there. Spotify, Stitcher, Geo7, Ghana, Podchaser, Pocket Cast, TuneIn, Radio FM, all of it. Go ahead and hit us up. Follow us. If we're not on something, tell us so we can add it on there. But you should probably just make changes to what it is that you use to listen to your podcast.
We're on Radio FM too.
Yeah, we're on.
That's cool.
Fucking man. Everything. Just tell your smart device, your phone, whatever. Talk into it. Tell it to play us. Like just give you an excuse to use those things as well. But yeah, if you tell your Google Home, your Alexa, whatever, it'll know what's up. It'll definitely know what's up.
And as always, we appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Peace.
Peace.